Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is April if you're new here, and welcome to my TBR wrap up smash up. I'm a little behind, so we're just gonna do the February wrap up and the March TBR together in one video. Who'd have thought? I only read 6 books in February, so I figured this video wouldn't be too long, so we'll just do both. Let's get right into it. So again, I only read 6 books in February. I did have romantasy that kind of took up a lot of my time, and also I've just been reading slow and doing other things. So let's start off with the first book I finished, which was One Little Nightmare. This is by Dawn Darling. I did read this for romantasy and Dawn Darling ended up dropping out at the last minute. I ended up giving this 3 stars. This book is about Brooks. He's in an insane asylum and he has 2 different voices in his head. One is one that wants him to destroy the world, and the other one is a beautiful woman that he calls a siren. As the story unfolds, you kind of understand a little bit more about why he's there, why he's connected to the siren, who the other voices are, who all the people are in the insane asylum, who's running the show. It was really an interesting concept. I don't know that I absolutely loved it, but the more I read it, I couldn't put it down because I wanted to figure out what was going on. So I really enjoyed it. I just kind of wish like it was a little snappier in the plot. I tend to be a plot forward reader, and some of this book was like going through historical background of gods because this is a book about gods. So those parts were a little bit slower for me, but the whole concept of this book, super cool. There is a second one. I kind of want to read it. I kind of do. I don't know if I'll read it right away, but I kind of want to read it. I think 3-star books are perfect and worth it for me, so try it out. And also I read Onyx Storm. What can I say that I haven't already said about this book? I did join a discussion about this book on Jess's channel from Honest Fiction. Awesome discussion, by the way. I was one of the ones that did not really like this book that much. It's not that I hated it. I didn't hate this book by any means. However, I just feel like this is a rerun. It was a rerun. The last book and this one ends the same way for me. The exact same way for me. And I was just I was very confused and bored in the beginning. And when you make me feel dumb, like I tend to not like the book. So it's like, I just don't think the beginning part was written in a way that was very well done, because you're just blasting us with brand new characters that we don't even like remember. You're not supposed to remember them. They were never important in other books, and there was way too many. So for me, not enough people died in this book. Not enough people died at all. I do like the mustache twirly villain in this book. And I liked when they finally got along and started traveling to other areas of the kingdom. That part was cool. If that whole second half was just expanded and the first part fell off the face of the earth, I think this would have been a 5-star book for me. However, that's not the case. I am still intrigued by Onyx Storm, and one of the things I love about this series is that it like makes me closer to people who don't even read because they're reading this book. I think that's one thing you can give applause to from authors like Rebecca Yarros and Sarah J. Maas. They are doing things from the genre that they are pulling in new readers, and that way you are kind of getting these people in with these books, and then they go on to other romantasy books, which I really love and appreciate. This book is just popcorn for me. It's a CW show. I'll still read it no matter what because it's just fun to talk to other people about it. And then I read a book called The Savage City by Elle Penelope. This is like a genre mashup. I really can't tell you what category it's in. The romance in it is very light because this is a first book, but it's also sci-fi, it's also urban fantasy, and it's also romantasy. Let me tell you what, this book is about a girl that passes away from a car accident. Instead of going to heaven or hell, she is transported into an alternative universe and another dimension. She's in San Francisco, but it's like fantasy times. There's kingdoms and creatures and there's a lot of politics going on right now. She is supposed to be some kind of long lost princess. It was honestly really cool. You are discovering the world as she's discovering the world. So the whole book, you're just kind of like, what is that? What does that mean? Who are you? What do you do? And then there's also this very light budding romance between her and another person, and I really just kind of enjoyed it. Like, it was very fresh to me, so I ended up giving this 4 stars. I think it was really cool. This is a series and I definitely want to continue with it. And then I read a horror book called We Kept Her in the Cellar. This is by W.R. Gorman. This is not a romance. This is a Cinderella retelling, though, from the perspective of one of the stepsisters. The stepsisters keep Cinderella in the cellar. And Cinderella has very specific rules. You have to give her chores to do. She can't be idle. Otherwise, that's bad. You can't let critters like mice and birds near her, because otherwise she zombifies them and makes them do her bidding. Yeah, Cinderella's a monster in this book, and it was honestly freaking cool. This book is cool. Like, if you are not a horror reader, I don't think this was like super scary or anything. It is a little bit gory at times because it's horror, but this book was freaking cool. Like, I enjoyed this immensely. I gave it 5 stars. It was just something new and different, and it was definitely a nice break from romance for a while, but it wasn't, again, like psychologically damaging to my brain. It was Cinderella, but Cinderella's bad. Cinderella's evil in this. There were some cool things, like the pumpkin scene, and then like what she does at the ball, and her shoes, and what those things are. Like, it has all the Cinderella elements in it, but in a horror elemental fantastical way, and I just like ate this up. I read it on audiobook. It's on Everend if you want to check it out. But I just thought that was super freaking cool, and I loved it. My last 2 books are also 5 stars, so just know all of these 3 books are absolute bangers and you should read them. The next one I read was Anathema by Carrie Lake. Of course, another hit from Carrie Lake. This is really cool. This is her first fantasy romance foray, but also all the gothic vibes because she is Carrie Lake. Crystal and I read this for our book club, and I'm really glad we did. It's a long one, but it is cool. This book follows a girl in a small town, kind of like a Sleepy Hollow town. Like, that's the vibe I got from the town. Everyone in the village is awful. Like, they're all awful. And as a girl, if you do something bad, you can be offered up to the woods monster. And they have a whole ceremony where they push you into the woods naked, and then the monster comes and eats you. And what do you know? The female main character's sister gets offered up to the monster, and things go from there. This is kind of like a portal fantasy a little bit, but this is just like, honestly, it's again another freaking cool book. I just really liked it. It had all the eerie vibes to it. A lot of monster things and fantastical elements and evil dudes that you just hope get their comeuppance at the very end. And this is going to be a duology, so it's not over yet, and I'm really excited for the next book. And then the last book I read, actually, I finished on my way home from romantasy-con, and I'm really glad I did. The Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss, another 5 stars. This book can't be more fun. Like, this is just a fun book to read, like absolute good time. Love the narrators. I think the narrators did a fantastic job on this. I also love the voice of the characters. This book is in a world where gods exist, but it's also like she lives in Montana, but then she also goes to the god city. So it's definitely fantasy romance. And she has to compete in a school or something like that for a year to become immortal. And she goes through absolute hell trying to be immortal. They make her are sleep deprived and starving, and she's got to also be doing schoolwork while doing this, like answering these impossible questions, all while getting teased by her classmates. She's kind of an outcast and the whole thing. And it's really cool. She has like mentors, and then she has teachers, and it will be Waichus in the end. This was, again, just super, super fun. It has a sassy snake companion. Like, I want to make the snake. I want to make the crochet snake. I have to do it. And so for the next book, maybe we'll do a reading vlog while I make the snake and read the book. But I really loved this book. I'm gonna go pick up the paperback edition probably, because it has a step back. It has a gorgeous step back in it. I love that books are doing these days, like fantasy books, because we used to get that a lot with historical romances, but now like romantasy is doing step backs, and I'm like 100% down with it. So those are all the books that I read in February. 6 books. Sorry, I talked a little bit about them. For March though, we'll go really quickly because I'm gonna participate in ARC March. So it's like March. I have a lot of arcs I really need to get through. Let me tell you about them. The first arc that I really need to read is A Thorn in Every Heart. This is by Kate King. I'm definitely reading this one because it wasn't just NetGalley. Like, the author actually sent me this arc, which I'm super grateful for because I love the concept of this story. This story is about Beauty and the Beast. However, Belle never returned to the castle. And the story follows a girl who has a one-night stand with someone, and he's actually a fae, and she's whisked off to a castle because her grandmother was Belle and she broke her promise, and now the granddaughter has to pay the price. So I'm really curious about this. I love a good fairy tale retelling. I need to read it. And then other books that I have in NetGalley that I really just want to clear out. I don't have that many. Something Extraordinary by Alexis Hall. This is the 3rd book in this series. It's a historical romance rom-com. Alexis Hall just has incredibly enjoyable, hilarious writing. Love their writing, so I want to read that one. I also have Chaos by Constance Fay. That is a space opera romance, and this one is about a mercenary and a super soldier, and when she touches the super soldier, his like mind control stuff goes away. So that's interesting. I also have On Wings of Blood by Briar Bolin. I think this is a Waichu's fantasy romance. I could be wrong on that, but it is romantasy for sure. And then I also have Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. That one's coming out in July, so if I don't get to that one this month, it's not the worst thing ever. The other books I definitely want to get to. I also recently requested this book totally because of the cover, called Lady Hell. It's a historical romance, and it's something in a haunted like estate manor. But it also is a bit of a horror book, so it does have like body horror. There's some content warnings here, demonic possession. I think it's also male, female, female, so it's a poly book. I'm just really curious about it. I don't really know anything about it. I totally just requested it based on the cover because I think the cover is super cool. Anyways, those are the books I read in February. Those are the books I have planned in March. Let me know what you're reading in March, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!